It's like watching some old rerun of a TV episode.
It makes me angry that it is so unfair and that poor people get such a desperate deal.
Feeling that feeling of deja vu as you're walking down a road.
It's that anger that gets me out on the streets.
It's like we've all been here before, but it doesn't make much sense. But it's all just too familiar to be coincidence.
We need to make our voice heard and to let the politicians know that we really care about this and we really do want to see change.
You had the chance to do things differently, but you threw that chance away. And history will judge you in the cold light of day.
I've got a message from Bono. Greetings from Dublin. Sorry I couldn't make it today, but there's a melody line coming through that people are starting to pay attention to.
It's about God's concern for the whole of creation. And it's about his concern for alleviating poverty and his concern for the poor.
They cannot compete with us here. They cannot compete with onions coming in from Italy. They can't compete with tomatoes coming in from Holland. And though it's wonderful to have aid, what we want is to be able to trade ourselves out of poverty.
You're like some old magician stumbling through your tricks.
I think the problem we have with the government is their insistence on supporting free trade, which is not the same thing as trade justice.
Using sleight of hand to hide your party politics.
British trade policy is negotiated through the European Union. And as a member of the European Parliament's Trade Committee, I've seen at first hand the way EU trade policy runs roughshod over the needs of the poor. It's time to replace the World Trade Organization's program with a new system of trade rules that gives back control of their economies to the governments and the peoples of poor countries. Let them decide when they want to trade and what they want to trade. It's a very simple message.
Well, sadly, the media tend to ignore it unless there's violence.
It's not sexy. It's not sexy.
You claim that you can save the world with nothing up your sleeve.
How can the hunting debate be more important than the debate between free trade and fair trade?
It got so many faces. Why should we believe you?
But the current rules of trade in our world today continue to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. 19,000 African children die each day from malnutrition and preventable diseases. It is the height of hypocrisy. It is a scandal. It's plain wrong. On the one hand, for rich world leaders to offer debt relief, while with the other hand, to strangle, to manipulate, to bully poor countries of the world, to remove protections on small farmers and the poor in their countries. This form of global apartheid must stop, and it must stop now.
You say we're just misguided fools, naive idealists.
I think it's a question of applying pressure in marginal constituencies. If you've got a mobilised campaign against you, you're going to be much more sympathetic.
We won't leave the table until the kingdom comes.
This free trade agreement is not about trade. It's about life. Because when they say that we are going to put forward the profits of the big transnational companies instead of the right, of the human right of the poorest people, then we say we must stop this. For us, this is the most important thing and the most important message. We can show that we are not alone, that we are all together with one goal: to defeat these free trade agreements around the whole world.
We won't leave the table until the kingdom comes.
Jesus got angry with the money changers in the temple, and I think anger on other people's behalf is quite justified.
Every life is priceless.
That's the voice of people who have no voice, people who are hungry, people being displaced. You are becoming their voice.